5 years ago I made the video 5 films about America, and today, 5 years later, it is America's 250th anniversary of declaring independence. So I figured I'd make a sequel to my video. So this is 5 more films about America. Number 5, Apollo 11. Apollo 11 is a 2019 documentary film directed by Todd Douglas Miller. Apollo 11 is a documentary about the NASA Apollo 11 mission to the moon, which is important for being the first Apollo mission in which the United States put humans on the moon. The film is composed of archival footage and photographs from the Apollo 11 mission. Notably, the film includes never-before-seen 70mm film footage, including footage shot inside Mission Control in Houston, Texas, and outside the launch site in Florida. The 70mm footage in this film is incredible. The footage is incredibly clear and at some points looks almost like it could have been shot today. I particularly appreciate all the footage of the crowds of people in Florida all eagerly awaiting the launch, as well as the footage of the crowds of people greeting the astronauts once they came home. This footage helps give the Apollo 11 mission gravitas, showcasing how important the mission was to the American people. The rest of the film, including the footage from space, was captured on 60mm film, which, while not as detailed as the 70mm footage, is still incredible due to the subject matter it's capturing. The film was presented without narration, letting the footage speak for itself. Overall, this film is great at showcasing how the Apollo 11 mission went down, and even helps contextualize its importance in American history. Apollo 11 is currently available to stream on Netflix. Number 4, Malcolm X. Malcolm X is a 1992 biopic directed by Spike Lee. The film follows the life of Malcolm X, chronicling his life from his days as a gangster in New York to his criminal activity in Boston, ending him up in prison, which led to him to convert to Islam and join the Nation of Islam, where he would become an influential civil rights leader, eventually leaving the Nation of Islam and being assassinated in 1965. Malcolm X is arguably one of the most important African Americans to have ever lived, but he's not without controversy, with many labeling him as an extremist who called for violence, as well as a black supremacist who was racist against white people. The film, however, paints a more well-rounded picture of Malcolm X, showing how his calls for violence were nothing more than advocacy for self-defense against violence perpetuated against African Americans by white people. The film also shows how Malcolm's view that all white people are devils softened after he left the Nation of Islam and made his pilgrimage to Mecca. The film is extremely well-paced, and while long at 3 hours and 20 minutes, never feels boring or unfocused. The way the film exhibits Malcolm's life feels effortless, with every scene helping shape a picture of who Malcolm X truly was. A passionate person who deeply cared for African American people and their struggle against the injustice and racism they face in America. For the most part, the film doesn't bother establishing its locations or dates with title cards like many modern biopics do, instead letting the audience figure out where and when scenes are set based on context clues within the scene, something I appreciate. The film, like Lee's other films, also includes archival footage of Malcolm X, which is a nice touch and gives context to some of the scenes in the film. The cinematography in this film is also beautiful, with cinematographer Ernest Dickerson sculpting light to create some truly evocative shots in the film. Lastly, I want to mention Denzel Washington's performance as Malcolm X, which is one of the best performances I've ever seen in a film. Denzel's performance sells Malcolm's arc as a human, going from criminal to a civil rights leader able to captivate a crowd just with his words. It is truly remarkable. Malcolm X is available to rent wherever you rent films online. Number 3, Moonlight. Moonlight is a 2016 drama film directed by Barry Jenkins. The film is about Chiron, an African-American homosexual man, showing his life in 3 sections. Part 1, Little, where he is a child. Part 2, Chiron, where he is a teenager. And Part 3, Black, where he is an adult. The film deals with the racism and homophobia he faces in America, particularly in Florida, where the film is set. Moonlight is easily one of the best films of the 21st century, and every aspect of the film is perfectly crafted to tell a story which is heartbreaking but also feels incredibly real. The cinematography of Moonlight often feels intimate, with many shots framed closely to the actor's face, and a lot of shots being handheld to give a more humanistic feel to the film. There's also a couple of points in the film where the actors look directly into the camera, breaking the fourth wall to connect with the audience in a more direct nature. Additionally, the color grading of the film changes in the different portions of the film, with the first part having a more neutral look, the second part having a cooler look, and the third part having a warmer look. These different color grades help represent Chiron's arc as a character. Throughout the film, Chiron has to grapple with his identity as an African-American man and his identity as a homosexual man, ultimately embracing a hyper-masculine persona as a way to survive in America as an African-American man. The film also deals with the relationship between Chiron and his mother, with his mother neglecting Chiron as a child, and then later trying to reconcile the relationship as an adult. Chiron also notably has an absent father, with Juan, a local drug dealer, somewhat filling the role as a father figure for Chiron as a child. Overall, the film has a lot to say about masculinity, love, race, and parent-child relationships. The performances in this film are also phenomenal, with everyone doing a great job, especially Mahershala Ali as Juan. Moonlight is available to stream on HBO Max. Number 2, The Florida Project. The Florida Project is a 2017 drama film directed by Sean Baker. The Florida Project is about Mooney, a 6-year-old girl, along with her friends and mother, and their lives living in a motel in Florida. The Florida Project is structured somewhat loosely, with some scenes tying together to form a narrative, but there also being a lot of scenes which look to create a certain vibe or atmosphere rather than build upon the overall plot. The film also has scenes which are filmed somewhat like a documentary. For example, there is a scene where Mooney and her mother try and sell perfume to people outside a hotel, and the people being sold to are real people who were unaware they were being filmed until after the filming was completed. This style of filming, blending documentary and narrative filmmaking styles, which is a common element in Baker's work, helps add a sense of authenticity to the film. Another interesting aspect of the Florida Project, which is a common element in Baker's work and adds authenticity, is that many of the actors and actresses in the Florida Project, including Mooney and her mother, are non-professional actors. The actress for Mooney's mother was cast because Sean Baker discovered her Instagram profile and was interested in her based off of that. Other actresses and actors were cast off the street, such as the actress for Jancy, Mooney's friend, who Sean Baker found while shopping at a Target in Florida. The film also features a fantastic performance by Willem Dafoe, who plays the manager of the motel, who is stern with Haley, Mooney, and her friends, but ultimately is just looking out for the kids. I also want to mention the use of color in this film, which I love. The film utilizes a lot of vibrant colors in its cinematography, such as the purple color of the motel that Mooney and Haley stay in. This adds a sense of lightheartedness to the film, which can sometimes be heavy. Overall, the film, while a depiction of poverty in America, offers a lot of hope in an otherwise dismal situation, displaying the joys of childhood through its main characters while not shying away from the dark side of poverty. The film is probably one of the most accessible films in Sean Baker's filmography, while still touching on topics such as sex work and poverty like many of his other films. The Florida Project is available to stream on HBO Max. Number 1, Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream is a 2000 drama film directed by Darren Aronofsky. Requiem for a Dream is about 4 characters: Harry Goldfarb, his mother Sarah Goldfarb, Harry's girlfriend Marion, and Harry's friend Tyrone. The film is set in Brooklyn, New York, and is about how each of these characters is affected by drug addiction. The film is edited somewhat frenetically, with there being a lot of quick cuts, a style of editing referred to as hip-hop editing. The film also utilizes split screen in a lot of scenes, and also uses a device called the SnoriCam, in which the camera is strapped to the actor's chest and facing them. Time-lapse photography is also utilized in this movie, particularly in a sequence where Sarah cleans her apartment. These techniques are used to get into the character's headspace, as well as distort the sense of time throughout the film. The film deals with addiction very seriously, showing the consequences of addiction throughout the film. Harry, Marion, and Tyrone are all addicted to heroin, whereas Sarah is addicted to amphetamines, prescribed to her by her doctor for weight loss. Sarah's story in particular is devastating. Sarah receives a phone call in which she is informed that she is to appear on a popular game show, and so in preparation for this she tries to lose weight in order to fit into an old dress of hers, subsequently getting prescribed amphetamines and becoming addicted, slowly losing her mind and ending up in the hospital. This storyline addresses how a dream can become an unhealthy obsession, in this case the dream of being on TV. Harry, Tyrone, and Marion's endpoints in the film are arguably equally as horrifying, but Sarah's story is particularly devastating to me, as she was just a lonely old woman clinging on to the dream of being on television to get through a day, but losing herself through drug addiction in the process of trying to achieve this dream. To me, the film represents the often fleeting nature of the American dream. Harry, Tyrone, and Marion are all trying to sell drugs to achieve their American dream of being financially independent and successful, and Sarah wants to appear on television to achieve her American dream of being important and widely loved by an audience of millions. All these characters in pursuit of their own American dreams end up in American nightmares. Lastly, I just want to mention the score composed by Clint Mansell, which is as iconic as it is haunting. Performed by the Kronos Quartet, it's a score that leaves a lasting impression. Requiem for a Dream is available to stream on Tubi for free.